Mears, let's put it off. What's in that pot?
It's the most beautiful flower you'll ever see when it comes up. I think really grows very tall. Blue, beautiful blue.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, absolutely superb.
That works well. I saw that one. I saw that.
Doesn't last as long as yours, though. That's the only thing.
No.
That's not bad, actually, Chris. A bit too much over here, do you think? Want to pull it out to see a bit more canal?
How's that?
I don't know. I can't see it from here. I can't see me anyway. I can see you.
Well, that's all you want to worry about, isn't it?
Yeah. You should have filmed that, you see.
It's on.
Is it on?
Yeah.
Oh, that's on.
Oh.
It's always the best bits happen at the beginning, don't they?
As long as that camera doesn't fall in.
Well, that'll be the highlight of the whole bloody.
Well, you won't be able to film it, would you? Because it'd be in the water, so it'd be completely useless.
So listen, without further ado, we're in bloody Yardley, Gobbion. Bloody beautiful.
It's not bad actually. My only concern is wind. Even though I've got a windsock on, not very good. Road, get a grip. What do you think of the boating so far then? Oh, rubbish!
So we were both talking earlier, weren't we, about winter, with it both being our first winter, and yesterday particularly when we arrived here I sat outside and just thought it's all been worth it.
There's a definite difference between winter and summer. I joined the Cut in England's hottest week,
yeah,
and I loved it.
Yeah.
But so that 41 degrees wasn't really an issue, and that was at its hottest. Now, winter, I've hated it.
Now, you've not hated it.
No, alright. But I've not liked it. I've not enjoyed it.
Well, when I looked at your last vlog, actually, so we don't know where this will happen in the timescale of things, but so last week's vlog, we're at the beginning of April now, so you actually showed some pictures. That's right, you were interviewing your friend in the marina, and
that was February time.
So you dug out some of your winter shots, and that really did hit me actually, because I've transitioned from those dark days of winter, although I'm not complaining about them. Don't want anybody to think I'm complaining. It was all part of getting to know boat life, and the first winter I knew it was going to be hard, but you just get on with it. So, but when I saw your pictures, wow, it kind of made me think, oh, that was hard.
I spoke to Amanda last week and I asked her, you know, because she's been, you know, experienced boater, 5 years, more experience than us. And I said, was it hard winter? She goes, yeah. It's the hardest winter she's done. And she's asked other people if they, you know, in comparison, what's it been like? And they all said, yeah, it was a long, drawn out winter, because we had those snowy spells and those winter freezes of the canal. Yeah, it was quite a tall order. But you know, I got nothing to measure it against, and if next winter's easier, then gift. If that's the hardest it gets, gift.
Yeah, no, completely agree with that. I mean, I think we were frozen in 4 times. The important bit is supplies. Now, whether it was by luck or whatever, supplies were never an issue. I happened to fill it with water the very first morning on the very first freezing event.
Yeah, I did, by chance.
Yeah, so,
by chance.
You know, look, Lady Luck swung her way, and that made it. Being fixed and not being able to move was not an issue on any level whatsoever. Because you were in walking distance or cycling distance to somewhere where you can get supplies. Yeah. As I was, by chance. Now, where I planned to moor, had I moored there, and the reason why I didn't is because there's no room. There's no room at the inn, just at the right time for Christmas, really. And I ended up at Grove Lock,
thank God. Because if I had been 2 locks further back, that would have a completely different experience.
Well, that's probably Hattie's luck there, because that is where Hattie kind of originated from before I got her. Was Grove Lock. That's where I used to keep her. Yeah. But anyway, it's funny that we're talking about winter on what is an absolutely
glorious day.
Yeah. There's a nice chill in the air, but it's as bright as it can be. You can feel the sun's warmth. I'm in one of my particularly favourite haunts now of the small navigation knowledge that I have of places I've stayed. Yardley and Gobian happens to be one of my favourites. It's, at this moment in time, couldn't want for more.
I will do a panning shot after this, because it is nice. Stunning. And you know, Baxter's yard is just down there. That's
right.
And Cosgrove is just down there. And I'm going to get some centre lines made by Mick, who makes centre lines. Well, he does all sorts of ropes really, but he's doing me a favour. And so that's down that way. It is a nice place, and I stayed here on my first route down from Nottingham to London by chance. I didn't know what I was doing. I don't make the damage, you know, scraping against the locks as I used to do, and that's because I enter the locks a lot slower.
Well, we've done quite a few locks together now, haven't we? Yeah. And I think normally, more than 9.5 out of 10, I would say there's no comings togethers really. It's all a pretty smooth operation, which actually brings us to an interesting point for yesterday for me really, because this is how naive I am. So I started off in October, basically the winter period of navigation on the canals. So I've not seen any lockies anywhere.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we're coming down Stoke Bruin locks and there's a swarm of lockies coming out, and I'm thinking, who are all these people?
Yeah, and I just swung straight into it, to be fair, whereas you were wanting to do all the work.
Yeah.
No mate, that's what their job is.
Yeah.
I know they're volunteers.
I couldn't get used to it. And the weird thing is, 2 of the locks failed, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, yeah. And that's because Epping bloody Forest was cut north of Blissworth Tunnel. I was carrying half a tree trunk around with me, which really faffed me about. And I did say to the lockie, I wonder if one of those trees were wrapped around your propeller when you're in Blissworth Tunnel.
Yeah.
What would be the effect?
Well, that's one question I asked you before we came through Blissworth. What does actually happen? So, answers on the postcard, or as Chris was saying in the comments below. So if you get stuck in the tunnel, what do you do?
I don't know.
It's a bit daft, isn't it? We should look this up and find out before it happens.
I don't think many people know, other than you just have to cope, and you're waiting for someone to drag you or push you or something. I'm sure I don't want to go through that experience until it happens, and when it happens I'll think about it. I'm thinking about it now actually. Anyway, enjoying it?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's, listen to the silence. I mean, it's, yeah, I mean, I'm in a good spot at this moment in time. Well, I don't know, it's a dream, it really is. I mean, I was sat outside yesterday, it was as if, I mean, we were talking this morning about the difference, for me anyway, in the past, about what role work serves in your life, and it has a lot of different functions and blah-de-blahs, but I was never completely satisfied with what my career was giving me back as a person on a whole, and I think a lot of people would probably say that. I know you feel a bit different. So you mentioned the whole thing about people that raise the question about retirement, and then what you're going to do. The thing about this choice is, one, I very rarely am aware of my thought processes ticking away as they used to be pre-boat life. So now it's an existence, and it's like work in a sense, because there's always something to do. So you're always busy, so you're always active, so your mind's always stimulated, but it doesn't feel like work. And then you can just switch off if you want to, once everything's done. What's there to complain about?
I think your picture's very rosy. You know, I learned this from Christian, and the terminology is, with every yin there's a yang. In boat life, we are going into whichever the good part is, of the yin or the yang. I'm not sure which one's which, but the good and the bad. Let's talk English. We're going into the good, and your whole being improves with great weather. I know mine does, and I'm really happy at the moment because it's a great day and it is nice and my spirits have lifted, but there is an awful lot of work that goes into boating. It isn't easy, but I get your rosy point of view, but I just want everybody to appreciate it's not always this good.
Well, we did reflect on that in terms of winter. I'm a fairly positive, outlooky kind of person. I think you probably gathered that.
Yeah.
You know, and don't get me wrong, I have had many dark days in my life, many dark days, but generally as a person I try, and I know it's not easy, and I'm not, you know, this is not a prescription because it's how you feel. And what I like about you is your honesty about saying how you feel, but I do generally try to wake up with a positive outlook. And we talked about the winter, so I knew it was going to be hard. So I knew when I boarded Hattie on October the 10th, right, still nice weather in October,
yeah,
and it's gonna get hard. But the thing, when it got hard, I'm thinking, nah, it doesn't feel that hard though. And yes, we are also both blessed with the fact that we've got warm boats. Not everybody is able to have the same level of comforts, if you like.
No, I appreciate. No,
so that would be even harder. So, you know, you and I have joked about it. I mean, in terms of how we both manage our boat. So I'm very power management conscious. You're water conscious management person, aren't you?
Yeah.
And we've both got these little foibles, and because I was always worrying that the power was just going to go off, because it did do once, and I thought, what's going to happen? So, and I think we're slightly different. I don't mind a colder boat to what you like to have as a kind of ambient temperature in your boat. If I didn't have the choice to get the boat warm again fairly quickly, and it was always cold, then that would have been very hard.
Yeah, I would argue that I'm glass half full, but I'm also a pragmatist. So I get it.
Because we hooked up here, just literally at Baxter's for the very first time.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
So actually, we've just completed our first round trip, which started over Christmas. Was it Christmas Eve?
2 days.
2 days before Christmas Eve?
No, we landed at Christmas Eve. So we met here day before Christmas Eve, 23rd.
Right, there you go. So, and we've had a bit of a journey together, and it's taken on lots of different things, and no fallouts, I don't think, really. Maybe a few irritations occasionally.
Getting to know each other.
Yeah, but that's, you know, that's normal. But no major fallouts. We've enjoyed doing things that are generally boaty wise good to do together, like going through the locks, going through the tunnels, that kind of thing. You know, that's just common sense kind of stuff. But yeah, we've kind of had a 4 month, is it 4 months, 3 months, I don't know, bit of a round trip, and it's been good. Enjoyed it.
I have, yeah. It is useful to do the cruising with somebody. It's useful. Hello mate, how you doing? Every so often.
Yeah.
I know you go for your runs and you're going to drag me out for a stupid run at some stage or other.
It's only just started again though, Chris. And the other thing is, what is also nice for me, this is what I enjoyed, but it was very brief, and I hope we're able to catch up a bit longer next time. So previously you spent quite a bit of time with Amanda, and we've just crossed over with Amanda as she's come up.
Yeah.
And it was lovely to see you, Amanda, and hopefully...
She doesn't watch the channel.
She doesn't watch the channel, there you go.
So don't even bother saying, oh hello Amanda, it's nice to have met you, she doesn't watch it. Why buy a boat?
Why buy a boat?
Why not a house?
So this is the very first thing ever in my life in terms of a place to live I've bought. I've always chosen to rent. Affordability comes into it, but also for me, being a single person with no family, I've got my dear brother of course, but we don't have anybody to leave stuff to, and you know, I think generally you might as well maximise what you can do with whatever you've got. And so buying a boat was a completely different thing. It wasn't buying property, it was buying into a life, a vehicle for life, let's put it that way.
That's quite a good outlook actually. I like that. For me, buying a boat was a necessity. I couldn't afford to buy a house.
Yeah.
I think if I had the money I wouldn't have bought a boat. So this for me is a means to an end. Having researched van life, mobile home life, tent life, caravan life, boat was the best option. I said that on video 1 I think. But do I regret it? No.
Yeah, I mean that's the feeling I get from you, Chris, in the sense that there's always a slight question mark, because I think as you just set that up, you know, those were the reasons you bought a boat, and there's always been a slight question mark over the period that you've been living on the boat. But the flip side to that is that I also feel, in the short amount of time that I've known you, that there's a definite attachment to it now.
Oh yeah.
And so it's something's embedded itself with you now.
Get the fucking fire
which
going.
Came from, you know.
I'll get the boat warm. Yeah, but yeah, you're right. It is, and for me, that's been the turning point. Getting that fire going. Learning how it works, and I burn a bag of coal a week and the fire's on 24/7, whereas I used to burn a bag of coal a week and it was only on from 3 in the afternoon till when it burned out in the morning.
You know, I've gone from wood burner to coal burner, where my religion was, Chris, I only burn logs.
No,
and I only burn coal, and it's like
no, I burn both, but by and large it was coal. And I said to you, coal, every day of the week, because it lasts longer, you can control it better. It's just...
But the point of it all was we were both finding our way.
Oh yeah.
Because we couldn't get the stove to run 24/7 like we wanted it to. Like everybody else was saying, you can get it to do it. Like I used to clean my stove out religiously every morning because it made me feel good, for one.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking I'm doing the right thing, until Chris said, well, you know, you meant to leave a bit of a blanket of ash in there to keep it warm. And I'm going, really?
Yeah. Do you know, here's me acting like I'm an old sweat, and it was only Pat and Karen when I was at Marsworth, and I was talking to Pat and he goes, oh mate, you need to, don't clean it out.
Yeah.
So it was only, I think, 2 weeks previous to you when I said to you, mate, you need to leave the ash in.
Yeah, absolutely. Spot on. So now all I do is you riddle it, you know, give the old thing a shake, you empty your ash pan out, you've cleared your little centre bit, and that's all set to go again. It was bloody freezing last night, wasn't it?
No, I wasn't cold.
Well, I mean, if you had not had your stove on, mate, that's what I mean.
No, but that's the thing. I looked at the old weather forecast and it said -1, -2, about 7 o'clock last night, I lit the fire. Whereas you had to get up.
No, I had mine pre-set up, but the residual heat from this beautiful sunlight yesterday.
Did you have
it was
to get
19 degrees at 7 o'clock. There was no way I was going to start the fire.
Did you have to get up?
I woke up at midnight
and started the fire.
Right, did you not get up overnight?
No.
At all?
No.
For no reason?
No, I'll tell you
slept
what.
all the way through?
Yeah, but why? Because
right, we're having an argument now.
No, because I prepped it. It was on at 7.
But did you not wake up overnight for any other reason? No. Oh, well, I do anyway. So I woke up at midnight.
Old man's piss.
Yeah, you know, and it was light your match, into the stove, shut the door, off you go. Lovely,
Didn't
jubbly.
need to.
We got neighbours. So there you go.
They lived in America for 15 years, Tennessee. Now that's south of America, isn't it?
Deep south, I think. Yeah. Deep south, I think.
I wonder what that was like. Hey? English people in the south of America. What was that hat he's got on?
It was a bit of a kind of a pie hat. Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, like them. Nice couple. But would you, like there's a boat behind us, knock on the door and say, hello mate, how you doing?
No, I don't. You would.
No, I wouldn't.
No. Maybe you wouldn't do that. I mean, we're different in that way. So.
But if someone was outside, I'll be having a chat with them.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have had a chat with them there.
No, I wouldn't. I would have just. No, I would have said hello.
Yeah, and that's it.
But I wouldn't necessarily. I had a chat with somebody that came down the towpath yesterday afternoon.
Oh, the woman with the dog.
Yeah. So it depends on the person, and you've said to me in the past, I remember you saying to me when I was chatting to that lady with the dog up at Wilton, you said, God, you can rabbit.
No, well, often I've looked at my bowel cam and it's me talking to people on the table.
Well, you are, because you are. You've got that kind of. See, what I'm trying to say is, I'm a very insular kind of person, but I am also gregarious. So it's when the magic feels magical to me. It's part and parcel of your vernacular. You like to have a natter.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. I saw a fishy basking in the sun last night.
Oh, did you?
I don't know what type of fishy it was. It was one that swims.
A little one or a big?
No, quite a biggie. Wow. About this big.
Living in central London for 25 years, life in your face. Literally, I lived opposite a tube station. You know, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. But you kind of think, oh, how are you going to cope again just in these kind of places? Well, I don't get lonely. It's just stimulating. It's fantastic.
Okay. And for me, I've made it quite clear, I get lonely. I've been hanging around with young men for 37 years. And, you know, even when I was, you know, at the top of the tree on a squadron, as, you know, instead of being one of the lads, still listening to them, watching them misbehave, mess about, it was just fantastic. You know, and there was never a dull moment. Loneliness. Now, I'm going to speak to Dennis. I'm not sure if I'll get it on film, but Dennis had done some time in the mob. But Dennis is different. So everybody's slightly different. I suffer from loneliness. Not where deep loneliness where I need to, you know, go and see someone about it. I just have a word with myself, take some man-up pills and crack on. Being able to identify when you're on a low point.
Yeah, but it sometimes takes, to be able to have the strength to be able to do that means that you're in a certain kind of place, so Chris. So I've had times in my life when I felt incredibly isolated and in a very deep dark place, and you can't get yourself out. And I only quickly say this because I shared with you yesterday that very sad story of Sheila in Peckham.
Yes.
whose body was discovered after 2.5 years, and the neighbours were flagging up with all the authorities and nobody was doing anything, and it's a complete failure. But the journalist that's covering that story, not only is her story tragic, but what he's asking is, what does it say about us as a society?
Absolutely.
That we can allow this to happen?
Yeah. It's easy. It's so easy to say, yeah, right, can't be bothered, or no. Guys used to, can we do this? Can we do that? Or let me think about it. And sometimes the answer was no. Sometimes the answer was yes. But it was never the easy answer is no, because that means I don't have to do anything. I don't have to think about it anymore. I've squashed the problem. I've squashed morale. Who cares? I'm the boss, so I can say what I want. But and I hear that too many times from those who are higher up in the rank structure than I was. No. Why is that? Because I said so. Well, if you're using rank to win the argument, you've already lost the argument, and I used to get wound up about it. But if the answer's no, I would explain the reasons why. And I think that lady on the Peabody estate, there's lots of failings there of society, because it's so easy to say, well, I've knocked on the door, no answer, never mind.
Yeah, and I think that reveals a huge amount about you, in the sense that, and I'm reflecting back to that episode you did of the guy that was late for your class.
All right, yeah.
And so the reason I brought up Sheila was because trying to give some context about what it means to be isolated, lonely. Going back to what you said, what you mean, what does it feel like to be lonely for you? Okay. Unfortunately, I don't think anybody will ever know what Sheila felt like.
Oh, mate.
I know what loneliness and desperation has felt like for me in the past. It doesn't exist now, fortunately, because it's a horrible place. But the same questions arise. How can you feel? You know, there's lots of people out there that are going to be feeling that they're in that place right now. But one of the things that endeared me to you was when I watched that episode about listening to the reasons why this student of yours was late. Reminded me of some of my athletic coaches. Now, what makes a good coach a coach is somebody who gets into the individual and understands them.
Empathy.
And what you did there in leadership, when you're talking about, it's not a, you know, the easy answer is no in certain, you know, blah blah, but what you were trying to do was understand the people that you were working with.
Yeah, psychology behind it.
You know, so, and that's where you get your results ultimately, isn't it? That's where you get the best out of people.
Yeah. I think if you're in the people business, you need to be a people's person. And I think so many people aren't. It's just a job. Shame. Mate, it's been a free-flowing conversation.
Yes. And it's still sunny, and I'm getting my first suntan of the year.
And I've still got my, well, it's a thin layer, but been facing that big yellow ball in the sky. And when I get my physique back,
that's two of us. That's for two of us, isn't it?
I will be out there.
When two of us becomes one.
Let's wait and see to the end of the, well, I reckon August. No, I do need it. I do. Anyway, thanks for watching, thanks for liking, thanks for subscribing. If you don't subscribe, give it a go, because I do this interviewing type stuff. I go down the canals, I do a bit of this, do a bit of that, and I'll see you next week. Ciao, Papa.